When most people take off their glasses, everything becomes fuzzy, except when they're wearing these contact lenses, which help you see without anybody being aware that you've even got them on. Contact lenses have been in existence for over a century. At first completely rigid, they have now become gas permeable and as flexible as gelatin. These small polyhema discs are used to make soft polymer contact lenses in a variety of colors. We see here a patient's prescription, essential to the fabrication of lenses. The process begins with data processing control of the shaping. Data is supplied by computer, which controls a digital lathe. They begin by shaping the inner curvature of the lens. This digital lathe, rotating at 6,000 revolutions per minute, is equipped with an industrial diamond. It shapes the inner surface, the part that touches the cornea. It must be free from any abrasion and imperfection, and is polished with a superfine abrasive paste. Polishing is a crucial step because it assures excellent comfort and perfect vision. A technician measures lens thickness with an extremely precise gauge. They now shape the outer surface, the part which touches the eyelid. The lens is glued with a special warm wax, and when the lens is completed, the wax will be removed by an ultrasound device. The wax takes on the desired shape in just seconds. The comfort of a lens is also determined by its thickness. It must be as thin as possible while retaining sufficient solidity. They begin by shaping the outer diameter of the lens, which takes only a few seconds. They now polish the outer surface of the lens. This polishing, done at high speed, calls for an abrasive paste, some oil, and a small polyester cotton ball. This apparatus polishes several lenses at the same time, a step that takes only 60 seconds. With everything computerized, quality is incomparable. A technician then polishes the rims of the lens. The polymer is then hydrated to make it flexible. Lenses remain immersed in a balanced pH saline solution for 24 hours. The lens becomes engorged with liquid and expands, reaching the desired proportions. This optical topographer is used to verify, through color distribution, whether the spread of optical power in the lens is precise enough to assure perfect vision. And now we proceed with another important testing procedure. The soft, fragile lenses are always handled with the greatest of care. This unit, called a frontofocometer, is a metering device which verifies the optical precision of the lens. Lenses are now completed and are cleaned, and they're stored in containers filled with a salt solution. This little vial that we find at optometrists is perfectly sealed with a silicone cap and another of aluminum. These vials are placed in a sterilizer at a temperature of 121 degrees centigrade for an hour and a half. The contents will remain sterile for a period of up to 7 years if not opened. The production of a lens involves 14 steps. If we exclude the rather lengthy hydration process, actual lens production requires only 15 minutes. They can produce almost 1,000 contact lenses per day, all made from these tiny colored discs. Bread, so delicious, smothered in butter and jam, dipped in gravy, or used to make big, yummy sandwiches. Who can resist it? I can't. Some 1,300 years ago, in the time of King Tut, Egyptians were already baking 40 varieties of leavened bread. The Greeks' contribution to this history was the oven, and 70 varieties of flavored breads. Breads so good that the Romans took the Greek bakers to Rome and their ovens to Gaul. This is how, by the Middle Ages, bread had become the primary food of Western Europe. Multigrain bread is made from several ingredients, such as flaxseed, buckwheat, soya, and millet. This protective grill prevents foreign matter from accidentally falling into the recipe mix, a recipe calling for some 600 kilos of flour. The ingredients, ground in a mill, are kept in these 36 enormous containers. We begin by mixing the ingredients together. These kneading troughs are used to ferment the yeast, a step which takes 3 hours. The fermenting yeast makes the dough rise considerably. This huge mixer kneads the dough for about 8 minutes. When thoroughly homogeneous, the content is emptied into a large tub. The dough weighs 1,000 kilos. That's almost a ton. The dough is loaded onto a slide situated above the dough divider. At the bottom of the machine, a small hole allows the dough to escape. 2 mechanically operated arms cut the dough pieces into equal lengths. It forms 192 of these a minute. The dough then falls onto a conveyor. Here, dough pieces are rolled into balls, which can be more easily worked. The dough balls are floured to prevent them from sticking during their transport and when they're molded. Here the balls of dough leave the divider and go to the molder. During transport, the dough can rest, allowing the yeast to act. The dough is then folded and rolled. The machine can handle 3 per second for a total of 11,500 an hour. The dough is rolled out to the exact size and falls into baking molds. Here we see the making of hot dog rolls. These little dough balls have to be shaped lengthwise and fermented before molding. Here the hot dog rolls are being machine molded. Dough pieces must not touch one another, so they're spaced apart by a small mechanical arm. Now we go back to multi-grain bread production. Squatted down at the bottom of the molds, the dough pieces go into the prover, where they rise for an hour at 42 degrees centigrade and at 70% humidity. Then they bake for 20 minutes at 255 degrees. When finally baked, the loaves end up with a nice golden color. A vacuum system draws the loaves from their molds. They're then placed on a conveyor to cool. A guidance system takes care of carrying the breads to various sections of the bakery. When well cooled, breads go to the slicer, which cuts 65 loaves a minute. They are sliced by 2-meter wide and 40-centimeter long steel saw blades. These blades are changed every 2 weeks. Sliced loaves are automatically packed at 65 per minute. They're now ready for shipping. Some 5.5 hours have passed between preparation of the dry flour and packaging of the baked bread.